sport mode is a beast. Holy. What's up, guys? Two Wheel Ton. I am in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the Harley Davidson Museum. I'm going to ride a live wire today. We're going to cruise through the museum. It's going to be awesome. Let's hit the museum right now and see what they got for us. All right, guys, we are in. This is a pretty cool building. I didn't know what to expect at all. Everyone was really friendly. Everything was super cool. If you look in the back corner there, I got all my gear already stashed in those lockers. And a guy actually gave me money to use it. I didn't have any cash on me. A guy gave me money to use those lockers. Super awesome. What a guy. And he had only been on the job 2 days. Young guy. Awesome guy. So thank you very much, dude, if you're listening or watching this. I hope you are. So here we go. They tell you right away the museum starts on second floor, so that's where I headed, and it's pretty cool. Look at this. Look at all these old bikes, man. This is awesome. This is the beginning of Harley, and this whole area here in the middle, there's kind of rooms off to the side as you see people standing over there, but this whole area is all set up like a giant timeline of Harley Davidson. And it shows basically their roots, their beginnings, and all the way through. Once you get downstairs and back towards the exit, it's all right to brand new bikes. And there's a bunch you can sit on and everything. But we'll get there probably in part 2. For right now, let's just take a look at all this awesome old iron here. These are all, as you can see, pretty old, early 1900s. Awesome. That sidecar, super cool with the leather lining in there. And I mean, everything just, to us, just reminds us of like bicycles, but with motors on them right now. Pretty wild. The number 1 Harley, serial number 1, is here. It's in a side room, and we'll get to it here within this video. So just hang tight. I love this kind of era, 1930s. I mean, I like a lot of 1930s automobiles as well. Everything is just the styling and design of things is so beautiful. World's finest motorcycle. Of course it is. Especially back then, man. Wow. Everybody drove them. Well, I mean, it was a speedy delivery. Everybody that could afford it. Here's another sort of, I guess it's a police bike, but it's got storage on there for all your gear. That is a big deal, man. I mean, I will admit, I don't really identify as a Harley guy, and if you've watched some of my videos, I'm not super crazy Harley, but going through this museum and seeing all this old iron, and right there, like an opposing twin, I had no idea. Look at this. I had no idea that Harley made an opposing twin at some point. There's even some inlines. Look at how huge that head is. It's crazy. Really cool stuff. And so looking at all these bikes and really trying to understand the history and stuff here, it made me look at Harley in a completely different way. It was just like I got it. I understood that it's this pretty amazing heritage brand in America. This was really cool, a whole section with kind of military related bikes. On this video that's on screen here, there's a whole section, Women in War, and they're talking about how they had a ton of bikes and all these women that were doing runs, like I think it was hardware runs and ammo runs and stuff on motorcycles. So I mean, all you ladies watching out there right now, yeah, don't ever let anybody tell you can't get on a bike. This is, of course you can. Women were doing it in a war. Pretty cool. If you look at, not quite a windjammer, but little windscreen there. Pretty interesting early on design. And that, look at that gas tank. Wow. That tank and that fender, man. And this was pretty cool, these toys. I actually had a red motorcycle like that one down in the lower left that was just there. Or really like that middle one. It was rubberized like that. Just like that when I was a kid. I had one. I'm sure we got it from like Salvation Army or whatever, but I played with it forever. They don't make toys like this anymore. Yeah, man, just like that one. Really cool. That green one's really cool, but that was like a trike version. It's U.S. mail, so mail delivery. They're riding Harley. Awesome. Different time. I'd love to be a mail carrier and just have it on motorcycle. That'd be awesome. Screw that little mail Jeep thing they drive around. Let's put it on a bike, man. Look at that, too. That beautiful blue and cream. So gorgeous. This was some really, I don't know, really beautiful kind of designing that they were talking about, and how it's, I mean, obviously the whole idea of motorcycles is pretty revolutionary through this time. So to be at the forefront is a pretty special thing. There's some actual bicycles. Pretty wild that rear tire up there, and these the bike sprocket, HD bike sprockets. Little cap. It reminds me of a welding cap. It's like a helmet. But here it is, guys. Let's take a look here. This is number 1. Serial number 1. Look at that leather belt driving that thing. Wow. Look at how huge the rear, I guess you'd call it a sprocket is, but it looks like it's also just spoked, just like the rear rim. Amazing. This is a pretty special thing. Of course, all behind glass, perfectly lit, just beautifully. I don't know if it's, I mean, obviously it's been restored at some point, but beautifully taken care of. It's really kind of funny, just like bike pedals. Look at that. You probably got to pedal it to get it fired up, even, I'm guessing. It was pretty funny. On the floor, there's like a lighted area, and it has distance markers on there. Like you barely could see it on the floor there. It said like 10 feet, and another one said like 15 feet or something. And I don't know if that was trying to tell us like you need to stay behind these this lighted area, like they didn't even want you close to the case. But I obviously didn't care and got right up in there. You have to. I mean, and this is literally the first one. This is literally like a modified bicycle with a, for the time, very substantial engine put on it. Very awesome. My mother was watching my Livewire video and called me up and said that she, through YouTube, you know, got suggested other videos and came across the video, and it showed this number 1 bike. And she, oh, that was so awesome. And, you know, if I could ride a bike, that'd be the one I'd want to ride. And it's like, well, let's wait for the next video to be out there. And this is pretty awesome. Everything, like so many big companies start like this. A tiny house, a tiny garage, and boom. Now you're going into the, you know, the stratosphere. The world is your oyster. This was a cool thing. If you notice how I got closer and closer, and start turning around. And it's an entire motorcycle in pieces. But from a distance, even I was completely fooled until I got in there. And here it's all 100% separated. Gas tank, exhaust, frame, motor, the battery, and everything's all separate there. Wheels, headlight, pretty cool. Really neat thing. This whole room was kind of interesting. I think I'll leave some of the audio of some of the interactive things here. Those stations over there you can sort of interact with, and one is to sort of understand the firing order. It's this right here, the piston rhythm. So the firing order and having a 45-degree V engine and what it sounds like. Let's see what a 90 degrees sounds like. Is that the body sound? Was kind of interesting, but I have some experience with engines, and I've worked on them. I've only worked on a couple Harleys, and they are a little bit different than Japanese or even European bikes. But I didn't spend too much time looking at this because I've seen the internals of engines more than once, so I wasn't completely fascinated. But it was kind of cool, kind of neat having a dissected look. And these holograms on the walls I thought were pretty cool. They're so clear. And it was kind of neat how it would show the motor and then kind of the open motor and how it worked internally. And then this wall was really cool on all this information. So flathead. I knew of the flathead, the knucklehead, the panhead, all that stuff. But I had no idea like the flathead was named after the haircut. Knuckles I knew, the pan I kind of knew, shovelhead I kind of knew, named after a shovel. Simple thing, kind of cool though. And then here are examples of those very engines right on the wall. And again, kind of a timeline. So there's the opposed twins, the V twins, really cool racing category. Really awesome stuff in here. And this is where I could just really spend a lot of time looking at motors. I really enjoy motors. Singles are really cool. A good single is pretty awesome and can be very impressive. And look at this, guys. The Buell Blast. It gets its own spot on the wall. I love this. So still to this day, my Buell Blast ride and review video is like one of my most commented on and most watched. Like people, I love seeing that, but I also get so much grief for liking it in any way. Well, the thing got its own spot in the wall. What did you get? I thought that was awesome. So all the way, twin cam, Rushmore, and Milwaukee 8. Nice motor. So right here, it's a room off to the side of it, and they're really focused on old racing. And here we see an example of banked racing, a huge banked racetrack. That's ridiculous. I mean, you have to be going fast in order to keep your momentum to stay up there on that bank. Really cool stuff. And if you think about back in the day, they weren't wearing much for protective gear, and they had them tiny little machines, and that's a real considerable amount of man right there. Look at this thing, man. That was just really interesting to me. Really cool. 1936, but in a weird way, like that whole front kind of fairing thing and having a front disc wheel, I looked so far ahead of time. I mean, it looked like something I could have even seen in the 80s that somebody would make. You know, I mean, the rear end's kind of like bigger than what you would expect to look at, but of course it's all that wedge shape for aerodynamics, and I don't know, just like amazing styling. Really cool, really interesting. All sorts of memorabilia from racers and racetracks from all over the place. Race bikes all over. Look at this, man. Can you imagine the guy cooking on that thing? And then this is a whole section dedicated to hill climbers, which is pretty cool. My dad hill climbed for several years. I remember it vividly as a kid going and watching my dad hill climb. So to even see these was really cool. Look at that, man. All those medals and that I mean, it looks like a weight belt, but yeah, probably just support for your back. And when out racing, there you got like shin guards and that tiny little leather helmet, some goggles. Look at that guy. Look at that guy just ready to go ripping on the track, man. Gloves, some goggles, leather hat. This was kind of interesting. Metal lined shoes, so you could drag your foot on the ground and it would, you know, never wear through all the way to your foot. Crazy on flat track, dragging your foot on the ground. Metal soles, bunch of trophies and stuff. That was really cool stuff to see, all those silver trophies. Look at them guys, man. Here we'll take one last look at the banked track setup here when there's not so many people around. There's tours going on at the same time while I was in here. The museum for the most part was pretty quiet, but tours going around and there'd be tour guides talking and stuff, and I'd rather fly solo and be able to really take this stuff in. And here we go, the tank wall. Now this I thought was really awesome. It was really beautiful from afar, even to be able to see from a distance. That's one thing you don't totally get with this all in this video, but sort of the atmosphere and how you can catch this glimpse of color. These are some of my absolute favorites. These beautiful metal flake paint jobs, and you see right there, even back then in the late 60s, they were doing that was a crinkle black, like a flat matte black with a high gloss metallic paint there. That's not something new. All you guys with the blacked out everything and matte black stuff, it's nothing new at all. It's been done, and Harley did it a long time ago. Really pretty cool to see even the evolution of the badge and the lettering and stuff. Pretty nice. And I love this even. These are like the brand new ones, and this tank here, I mean, that completely reminds me of 80s, you know, the wings and the bar and shield, and just awesome. And here, so you can see above their archives viewing area, I ended up going down this hallway. I think this is some kind of special access just if you're on a tour, but there was a bunch of cool pictures down here like this. So I went ahead and and just walked down there and filmed it so you guys could see what was going on. And we'll get down here in a second, and there's a few items that you can kind of see, but this is nearing the end of this part 1 video of the Harley Davidson Museum tour. Look for the next one coming up pretty soon. Really cool. If you're in the Milwaukee area, definitely it's worth checking out. It was pretty inexpensive to go, and if you can go and there's some sort of a special event going on, that's cool as well. I happened to be there during the live wire demo. That's when I took this, and if you look at some of these models that are up there, they very much look like they were live wire prototype kind of models. That was pretty cool. Rear trunk, that's all clear. But anyways, guys, Two Wheel Ton, be sure to like and subscribe. Tell all your buddies. Click on any one of these videos on screen and keep watching, and I hope I'll catch you on the next one.